Welcome back to the Artefactors Union. I'm your host and foreman, Douglas Scoundrels. Today we are assembling the Things That Go Bump box for the Nightmare keyword. This is the 3rd edition box, but the models are still valid for 4th edition, obviously. Box only contains 2 miniatures, technically. The Bandersnatch, which is this lovely spider stalking this poor miner man, and the Widow Reaver, this lovely lady with a parasol. That is our artwork. Renders on the back. So you can see what I meant by technically 2. There's 2 minis on the same base, the miner and the Bandersnatch, as well as the Widow Weaver right there. Now, I know some people don't put the miner on the base because they don't like him being there. That choice is up to you. I'm going to assemble both and put them on the base anyways, just so that I can do everything that's possible with this box. That's the renders. Let's look at the sprues. Here are the sprues. Widow Weaver here, taking up considerably less space, but it is a singular lady, so that's not much of a surprise. And then the Bandersnatch, the bottom part being the actual spider, and the miner up here. Oh, it's referred to as Bandersnatch miner specifically. I wonder if I can get my camera to focus slightly better. There we are. All right. Nothing too surprising on all of this. Some small bits that we're going to need to be cautious of, but nothing looks too terribly hard for us. We'll see if that ends up being the truth, but we'll go ahead and look at the instructions for the Bandersnatch first, and we'll start on that mini first. All right? Okay, starting with the spider first. Let's do the 2 halves of the abdomen first, and then we'll set that aside, and I think I'm going to go in kind of a backwards order of what I normally do. We're going to grab the thorax, and then we'll attach the head to that, followed by the first front pair of legs, the second pair of legs, which is this one with the hole, the third pair of legs, which I think is the one that's slightly wider, and then finish with the 4th pair of legs. Now, I could be wrong in that order, but I think that's how they go. And then so once all of those are attached to the thorax, we'll glue the entire thing onto the rest of the spider body. Once we move on to the miner, we'll grab his torso, do his 2 legs, his holster, then do his 2 arms, followed by the front of his head and the back of his head. Then we'll put them both on a base. All right? So let's start with these 2 bits first. Alright, here is the back of the abdomen because it's got the ridges. Let's put the front right on here. Okay, combined abdomen. Now I'm merely going to say I think my order is incorrect on the thorax. Did a little bit of clipping out and a little bit of dry fitting, and I think it's going to be probably smarter the way it's kind of implied in the instructions. We're going to basically glue our first set of legs onto the thorax and then glue that onto the abdomen. First set of legs going to be going right here, has that nice little hole for a tooth. This is where the head would be, this is where the abdomen would be, and that specific set of legs we're going to attach is this one right here. It's got that nice little peg there. You can already see I cut one out, but this guy right here. Before and after. The seam looks good. Just maybe need a little bit more of a squish there. But now we can take this and add that directly onto our abdomen, like so. There we go. There is a nice little groove for this leg over here on the side of the abdomen, which will help you make sure it is nice and secure. I might squish that around just a little bit to try and close that gap, because I realized I assumed everyone understood spider anatomy. The abdomen is the big fat butt part right here. The thorax is the middle section of the spider, and we will attach the head probably last, which would be at the very front. Right, okay, I'm going to make those adjustments, and then we're going to do the second set of legs, the second back set of legs. In that case, it is this one, the one that doesn't have any additional tooth on it, right? So let's attach that next. Okay, how to position these legs, because they are just kind of similar on both sides. One side has this little sort of, focus please, camera. and not shake too much. One side has this nice little curved connection point, almost a dip in the center, whereas this side is almost flat. But we are going to attach the flat side to the legs we already have attached. Okay, there's our second set of spider legs. Now let's go ahead and do the third one. It is our last pair of legs. And there's a nice lovely tooth that will go in here, which will tell you what the orientation is supposed to be. But this is our orientation anyways, just to be certain. All right, glue them in. Okay. Got 3 sets of legs in. Now let's do the individual legs before we add the head on. Let's go and start with the right leg because it has that nice tooth that will go into this square. That leg, or that tooth, being this one, as you can see. So it'll be situated kind of like that. It'll be pointed forward more than the other legs are. Good. Now let's do the other one and just get it to slot in real nice. And there we go. We have all 8 legs in, so now let's just top it off with the head. That'll fit right in there. Okay. We're done with our spooky spider. Let's set him down and grab our victim if you want to put him on the base. Torso, leg, leg. Let's do that order. All right, here is our torso. Let's go ahead and start with the right leg, which also includes the pelvis, because that's the only thing that's connected down here. That bit being this one. Like that. Okay, our victim friend has a leg. Let's add the left leg now. I'm just going to attach right there. Cool. All right, see this lovely little hole right here? This is where his holster is going to be. So let's attach that next. On the sprue, let's be right there. Okay, holster is it. Now let's go and do the left arm, which is the one that is actually holding the gun. And then we will do the right arm after that, which is the one holding the lantern. All right. Now the right arm. Okay. Now, so the last bit, the head, the front, the face, part of the hat, one with the actual neck to connect it here. Let's add that. Specifically this bit right here. I immediately recommend that you do the head before you do the right arm. That is really in the way and making it what made it a lot harder to get him on. But if we're sort of stuck where I was, sliding it in from the top is the best way to get it in there. That's what it should look like once you've got it on there. Now let's go ahead and add the other half of his head, which should be a little bit easier to do. Yep, and it would probably be smarter to attach the 2 halves of the head together before you put them on the body, because I've made this too difficult for myself, or more difficult than it really needs to be. So, you know what? Screw it. Rip the head off. And I'm going to attach these 2 parts of the head first and show you how you're supposed to do it if you're not a dingus like I am. Okay. That is how the combined bits of the head are supposed to go if my camera will ever focus. Should probably invest in something besides my cell phone, huh? Yep, I'm going to let that cure first, and then I'm going to jam it on his neck, all right? All right. His head is on. Let's put him on a base. The Bandersnatch is done. Hardest part for this guy was figuring out the order of the legs and the head of the miner, but that was entirely for order of assembly. If you put the head together first and then slotted it onto the neck, you wouldn't have nearly as much of a difficulty as I did, so I'm not resistant to say that was the hardest part, because that was just My fault for doing it in a bad order, but you've seen this video, so now you know exactly how to do it right. Let's move on. Window Weaver. We'll start with the 2 halves of the dress, like we do on most things, and then we'll add the right arm and the the back of the dress after those 2. Then that's the left arm. The right arm. We'll ignore the parasol for now. We'll combine the 3 pieces of the head, which is the back of the head, the jaw, and then the face. Add that onto the body. Then we'll cut out the hand and the shaft of the parasol. The 2 pieces of the parasol, glue them together, glue them onto this shaft, and then glue that onto the weaver's body, and I think we'll be done after that. So let's grab these 3 bits first. Okay, 2 halves of the dress done, or at least the main part of the dress. Now let's add her back. Back is on. Now let's add the right arm, the one holding the fan, the left arm, God, my right. Her left arm holding the fan. Girl got some long arms. Alright, left arm is in, now the right arm, which, goes on the right shoulder. Okay. Right hand's done. Right arm is done. Let's go ahead and grab our head and assemble that. I believe our order needs to be the back of the head, the jaw, and then the face. Okay, here is our head, or the back of the head. You can see this little slot here, and that is where we're going to jam our jaw into. There we be. Now let's just add the face on top of that, right there. Alright, head is all done. Let's jam that on the body. Okay. Let's set that down. And our last few bits, we'll go ahead and cut out the top of the parasol, the sort of curtain thing that is attached to it, and then add that to our shaft. Okay, here's our parasol. Now, there's actually a particular way it connects to the curtain. You just can barely see down there. It is, get the tweezers out. I have them in my hand. Ugh. Okay. Down here is a nice little tooth that's really hard to see, but that is going to line up with a groove on our curtain. Grab that guy. You can see it right there. So that's how they will connect. Okay, you can kind of see in there the rectangle connection point a little bit. Well, we are now going to attach this to our hand that is holding the parasol, and we want the hand to be facing us as well as the parasol to be facing us, because remember how gravity works, so it will connect like that. Sorry, that was a terrible way of explaining it. The back of the hand is facing us, and the parasol will be raised up, so this is sort of the angle we're looking at when we attach it to her. So let's go ahead and add that to her lovely wrist right there. So it should also connect to her head. You can see this sort of groove there. I'm not exactly sure where on the head it attaches. I can't really see, but I'll just obviously glue it where it best fits. Okay, there we go. Connects to the wrist just fine. Come on, camera, work with me. And that's how I got it connected to the head. But she looks good. Let's put her on a base. The Widow Weaver is done. Relatively complex model. More specifically, trying to fit all the pieces of the head together was the hardest part, as well as situating the parasol onto her head and her wrist. So, that's moderate difficulty compared to a lot of stuff, because this is, I believe, an old 2nd edition model, so hasn't had a revamp in a while. Could have been a lot worse, I guess I could say. Alright, let's look at the whole box. The Things That Go Bump box is done containing a Bandersnatch and a Widow Weaver. Box was moderate to severely complicated, like a solid 7 out of 10 maybe. Just a lot of pieces that you probably wouldn't get as complex in a newer box, and some assembly order necessities that hopefully this video will help you with. But hardest parts overall were figuring out the order of the legs on the Bandersnatch and the Widow Weaver's head and parasol. So that's good for complexity. I've been your foreman, Douglas Scoundrels, helping you build a better Malifaux.